My name is Arya Aber, and I will be reading my poem, The Red House in Sardinia. The classics lie to you. There is no romance to death. I wake up, brush my teeth, and find out that my friend has hung himself in a public park. More brandy, please, the living around me shout, then put their sunglasses on. He adored this island, the red house where wasps and mosquitoes drowned in the pool and we drank wine for lunch. We played chess with half our bodies in water, and he only laughed when I read Dante to him. Nature follows as she takes her course, the divine intellect and the divine art. Nature isn't like art, he said. It's like architecture, functional before it is beautiful. The dark volcanic hills could not sway him. Neither could the gecko falling asleep on his feet in the afternoon. He is ash in a small jar now, or that is what science says. Here, the river has dried out, the tomato vines fouled. Every day, the world inches closer to ruin, and still I am astonished that bones and flesh contain the spirit and that it can burn. The beach has turned red by volcanic sediment and crushed seashells, lifetimes of everything contaminating each other, and then emptying the jar into the clear green water. Darling, I say to the sea, a feeling of inadequacy rushing through me. Above us are Dante's inscrutable stars, mocking me for my terribly human need for connection. And below is the coast, where the waves are just waves, taking one thing and returning another. Bottle caps, warm seagrass. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Our wonderful reader who just finished up was Arya Aber, and I am Layla Zore. I am your host for the Afghanistan section. Arya Aber is a wonderful poet who is the author of the poetry collection Hard Damage, which was the winner of the Whitting Award and has now moved on to fiction as well, and has blessed us with her novel Good Girl. Now we have our next live speaker, who will be Jamil John Kochai. He is a fiction writer, a short storyist, a poet, among many other things, most notable for the author of 99 Nights in Logar, which was a finalist for the PEN Hemingway Award for the debut novel and the DCS Poet Prize for South Asian Literature. His second book, which was short stories, was The Haunting of Haji Otak and Other Stories, which won the 2023 Aspen Awards Literary Prize, the 2024 Clark Fiction Prize, and was a finalist for the 2022 National Book Award in Fiction. His short stories have appeared in The New Yorker, and they've been in the O. Henry Prize anthology, The Best American Short Stories, and A Century of Fiction in The New Yorker. Please welcome me and having Jamil John join us.
Assalamu alaikum. It's an honor to be able to read with you all, and thank you so much to the organizers for putting all the effort that they have into this event. I wanted to start with a poem by M.A. Césaire. It's called Abyss. He pondered the logic of the swamp's teeth. He pondered the molten lead in the chimera's throat. He pondered a morgue of beaks in the coral dump for the dying. He pondered the boundless extension of the century-old quarrel across the beaches of time. In the time it took a soul to vanish, there went through me the passion of Pitam. He pondered a mouse pitter-pattering through the palace of a royal soul. He pondered the voice of a galley slave strangled by a song, then by the soulless halt of a herd, an isolate of sea slugs coiffed with venom helmets. Thus, all nostalgia rolls into the abyss. And then I'm just going to read a little bit from a short story I wrote recently It's a story within a story within a story, and but I'm just going to read the first section here. It's called An Open Heart. They cut open my father's chest and splayed his ribs out beneath their halogen lamps. And inside his heart, they inserted a ticking device whose purpose we couldn't exactly discern. And then they sewed him back up like a pouch of coins and sent him out into the cold world with a bomb ticking away in his chest, his scar like a line on a map dividing a formerly peaceful tribe into warring political factions or rival criminal gangs who will cut open a man's chest and rip out his heart and eat a chunk of it to demonstrate, I think, the depth of their barbarity. But what my father notices when he sits in our living room to watch grainy cell phone footage of this performance is that the cannibal grimaces while eating the human heart, as if not totally committed to the act, even though my father argues if he, watching the footage, has noticed the grimace, then surely rival gang members will have noticed the weakness too, and that will condemn not only the cannibal, but his associates, former commandos trained by the Navy SEALs or the Foreign Legionnaires or Mossad, who, in a matter of months, will be hunted down and turned into the videos my father watches in our living room, despite the fact that I block the websites where he finds these videos. And because I suspect that my brother is secretly sending him new websites, I confront him about it when he returns home from the butcher shop where he works. But of course, my brother denies everything and blames the algorithm of our father's Facebook. And when I tell him that you don't see gore on Facebook, he says you don't see gore on American Facebook. But on Afghan Facebook, people post dead bodies all the time. And I say, but those Afghans are publicizing war crimes. And he says it all fucks with your head just the same. And I say, if you know it fucks with your head, then why do you keep sending him videos? To which my brother responds, remember when... I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamil John. And now I just wanted to go ahead and give us an introduction for Alexandra John, who is going to be our next reader. Alexandra is a technologist and a writer based in Brooklyn, New York, on the land of the Munsee, Lenape, and Canarsie peoples. She's the daughter of Deborah and Tajuddin, and a sister to Hotsanda and Butloon. Thank you so much for joining us, Alexandra John. We're excited to hear what you have to say.
I'm sorry, but it doesn't look like we have Alexander John here. Let me just confer who the next poet.
Hi, Salam. It's good to be with you all. I have really enjoyed listening to the other writers. I've learned so much, and I'm really honored to be with the readers here this morning or midday, wherever you are. I actually just wanted to show really quickly, I have a shelf above me with many of the writers here, their books on that shelf. So it's really an honor. I do want to bring into this space, I'm reading today as a half Afghan person based in the United States. And I want to bring that into the space because I think making sense of that identity has always put me in a conversation with American warfare and imperialism, which of course is relevant for us here today. I'd like to share with you an in-progress work entitled Rahmanullah. My beloved has spent the year ruminating over her womb, expelled a seed from it that had begun to bud in winter that was not destined to survive, and since has been railing against its rocky soil, distrustful and afraid. She moves too fast with herself. She forgets to see the God in her. Feels like God left, or at least went quite far away for a while. Truly, this year has been barren. Nothing's been produced, and she and I lay coiled together, wrapped in our potential. Outside her window in Harlem, slight snowflakes dissolve somewhere between the 5th story and the pavement. But no one says barfi anymore. No one hosts rotating supper clubs or brings by roast meat when a relation dies. No one really knows their neighbors anymore, or adequately fears God, or sacrifices of themselves. Still, I do see prayer everywhere. Vines scaling the edges of parking signs, the bobbling helmeted head of the child on the back seat of his father's bicycle, birds circling the still winter sky outside the courthouse hearing for Mahmoud. Prayer not always poetic, often raging, desperate, like graffiti sprawled across every AI companion ad in the train, or the script taped to the back of her door stating that her household is represented by legal counsel and to please slide the warrant through the crack if it exists so that she might read it out loud. This year, the National Day of Mourning falls on my 149th day of unemployment. I wake with a meditation on breath and join Layla as she pens an op-ed, sifting through 40 years of president's speeches. See, yesterday our cousin poured himself out, got so hungry that he made a fire and set it upon 2 young militia members. So hungry, he drove from Washington State to Washington City, shining dome upon a hill, and said khalas, maybe said nan khar azadi, said it bluntly with a bullet the way he was taught by the Americans in Kandahar with scorpion stealth and precision. The news stories say alien, over and over, say animal, say evil, but don't say occupation, not of Kandahar or Washington, where the militia has been illegally patrolling the subways and parks since August, battling encampments of the unhoused with their rifles in their fatigues. Wearily, we go to work, do our daily commute. The most civilized tip their hats to the soldiers, the bravest spit on their boots. Wearily, we go to work, quoting their presidents back to them, as if they just need to hear it better, need to hear it clearer. In her address to the Day of Mourning crowd, Leah tells us how grief is meant to mark time, be a retrospective of legible losses instead of this continuous lament. What happens when the grief is ongoing, when it is commingled, when yours runs into mine so it becomes hard to trace, back to the mouth, back to the source. One August, I saw the sky tear open and a man fall through it. One August, I saw masked white men rip a mother from her car at the school drop-off. One August, witnesses wrapped dead children in carpets outside El Tabayin. One August, Amal speaks to me through an old phone handset attached to a static-filled TV screen. The Borderland detention facility is not far from the checkpointed passages and just down the road from the miles-wide concrete fortress of an Amazon fulfillment warehouse. I am impotent in comparison and so very far from mercy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alex John. I wanted to go ahead and take this moment as a little bit of an intermission in between our speakers to go ahead and share some words. I wanted to say thank you all for including me and also for having this event, for Paminar Press, specifically Ghazal John, for doing what we should be doing as writers and taking a stand against oppression in every single way, shape, and form. And for us, many of us, a lot of that just looks like taking up our pens and creating an environment in which we can have these discussions. And for her to be such a facilitator of these things is just proof that we can all make a change in the way and shape that we and choose to do so. I wanted to share a piece of my own writing that had to do with kind of the ways in which I realized the United States, of course, with its history, being a perpetrator of many different types of colonialism, but also just the eye-opening process in which how insidious and how deep the process goes, and the disillusionment that comes with being an American and everything that means to us. So this is Disillusioned. You couldn't have had strawberry jam on toast for breakfast because you're allergic to strawberries. It didn't rain this week. The puddles are from a mishap with the hose. Your mother carried you until you became a dream. Your father is a stranger to himself. The bird outside your window is a fly stuck in a spider's web. Like your suffering, the country you live in is not of your choosing. We are related. I don't have the words for how. The dog barking across the street has not been fed for hours. His owners came over for dinner yesterday. The man singing at your door is serenading God. There's a poem standing between him and the masjid across the street. After the muezzin calls him to prayer, his lover will call him to the corner. A day's ration of bread and a moment's worth of pleasure will follow their embrace. Tomorrow, we will argue whether poetry is an act of worship. You will insist otherwise, convinced your truth is reality. I will spend tomorrow in awe of the word rut, how it carries more weight and truth than it is given credit for. Have you noticed the color of nostalgia is the same as a white lie? When you told me you love this country, your face remained blank, like a canvas waiting to be painted. Thank you so much. And with that, I wanted to go ahead and include our bio for our next speaker. Dr. Rashid Salim is a scholar and author specializing in the Persian language and literature, as well as Islamic studies. He teaches and researches at the University of California, Berkeley, and he is the founder of Aleph Institute, the premier site of advanced online instruction in the Persian language. His second book, The Sun Does Not Perish, is currently under contract with Bloomsbury Publishing. So thank you so much. And let's see, wonderful Ahmadjan.
My name is Silai Karzai.
Hi.
Should I go or should we wait?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It looks like the person you just introduced is not actually in the room. I don't have names on the videos, so I was trying to.
That's okay. We can move on to Amanjan, who is here. So whose wonderful face just flashed on the screen was Aman Mujadedi. He is a wonderful artist whose artwork has been exhibited internationally in the Linden Museum, Stuttgart, and the Imperial War Museum in London, Times Square, New York. In New York, the Images Biennale, Roskilde, the third Dhaka Art Summit, and he is a contemporary artist who focuses on themes of belonging, diaspora, and weaving the two. Amanjan, thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to hear from you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much as well. Thank you to the organizers. Thank you for having me here today. I'm going to read two very short things that actually are quite old, but that I came across as I was thinking about this today, that I think are quite relevant, and then a bit of a longer piece that I wrote specifically for today. So these two works are from a collection called Whispers in the Void, these first two short ones. I used to hear the bulbul sing. Now I can only hear the bombs fall. Do you hear them? And the second work. If you had only asked to come, we might have welcomed you. But you didn't ask for anything. You simply took our lands, our lives, our futures. I could have been your friend, but you made me something else. These were actually written in kind of connecting with Afghan prisoners within Guantanamo while I was working on a project for the Havana Biennale almost a decade ago. But I found that they had a important relevance to today's work. And this new piece is called The Goddess of Scentless Petals. Looking out across the orchard at zaitun trees once grown, once known by their first names, yet frail and unfamiliar now, unrecognizable beneath the rubble, the debris of occupation, the waste of war, signaling a life whose death is at hand, an end to what's not yet forgotten, the beginning of what's yet to be seen. But how does one leave a life behind? For that, distances must be traveled, not an across kind of distance, but the kind that runs within, where one's host might be revealed. Yet in that place, there's also pain, a hurt hiding within the folds of that want, deep, inside crevices, where even secrets can't be found, the kind of pain that stains your center, leaving a deep indigo dust upon your dreams, dreams that can be realized only through fire. Having slept in a bed where lives once intertwined, I wake up exhausted and unsure of the ground beneath my feet. So I step carefully onto the scorched earth, slowly melting footprints, leaving behind a soggy trail, soul puddles reflecting images unfelt and feelings unseen, from a heart that is no longer clear, clouded with the unsettled silt of other people's lives. But by morning, the puddles are gone, evaporated into the karmic cycle to be recycled, replanted in fresh spirit soil and watered with a goddess's tears. A nameless goddess that lives in the corner of my life. 7 arms and the 3 heads of my past, present, future. Her facial features blurred and contorted while her arms keep busy, each moving in rhythmic ritual to the ringing of bells. Burning incense, sacrificing a lamb, offering fruit, stirring a pot of bones, choking a demon, breaking a mirror, reaching out to me. Her empty hand full of hope and fear, with nails growing in divine spirals, she gives birth to herself in 7 places, where I find each of her offspring fully grown and watching me with future-filled eyes. Waiting in the shower, crouching behind a dumpster, staring in the rearview mirror, sitting in the chaikhana, standing in the metro car 1 car over, drinking at the other end of the bar, mumbling to herself on the corner. But the day continues to blossom, like a flower out of season, scentless petals barely opening before turning brown and falling back to the earth. Still, I lean over and place my nose close to the day's center. Nafasing deeply, I'm convinced of a sweetness within, a hint of nectar and gulab, and so I begin to remember fragments of a forgotten future that might only be lived in the naked sunlight of today. That's it. Thank you very much.
Yes, hi. Thank you so much for the invitation, and it's really a privilege to be a part of this effort, and thank you to the organizers. The title of this work is On Blood and Breath. In what language will my last words wave? In what language will my last words wave? Grant me vision, I sacralize my sorrow. I silence the longing saved for tomorrow. What dialect will I die in? I read poems and prayers as I wavered through stone and sabza, a third script pressed to earth for mourning. My mourning voice holds no tension for you. I settle below soil, no skin to skin, skin to sin. Single me out for forgiveness, let me sink you, let me sin. A different word order is syntax. Absolve me, astaghfirullah, forgiveness for a sent text. Whispers, fearing I forget conjugations, changed country 3 times, fix your run-on sentence, tense. In love and death, one should relax. The ancients held that the kidney is the storehouse of emotions. I witnessed the compound, jigar, liver, and khoon, blood. Jigar khoon conveys sorrow, to flow with grief, to give a damn. Let the levees break, leave us, break. Let my bloodied liver flow. Let this bloodied river flow.
Khoon, blood, dam. I know in Arabic blood is dam. For Farsi, dam is breath. Dametra bigir, catch your breath or take your blood. Which bounty do I count first? I grieve you in a terrible number of tongues. Never enough words to grieve me. English won't understand my dam, breath or dam. Blood, no breath, more blood. Y'all over there, they're so dumb. Saffron can't be plucked except by hand. Keep your machines and machetes. Let me catch my dam. I uttered prayers in sin. Jigar, liver, khoon, blood. Jigar khoon, liver khoon, lover khoon, live here khoon, love here khoon, lover khoon. Not all blood is connection. Remember that qissa of the one who visited an ill person. The difference between ill and ill is just an apostrophe. An apostrophe indicates possession and contraction. The difference between you and me is tense. You here, me in the past. Not simple, continuous. Can't continue us. Yes, the story, qissa. Upon seeing their state, they wept by their bedside till the morn. When the sun rose, so did the sick person. But the visitor had died. The cause, jigar khuni, a battered, bloodied liver. For that battered, broken lover, the lesson is don't mourn too much. Or maybe take some breaks. Don't mourn till the early morn. I'll wait for you at night. I'll weep for me. By right, love is opening and closing of the eyes. Love is opening and closing of the eyes. Death, a reading of what I forgot. I've nearly died 9 times. The 10th, I'll pitch when we unfold below the stars. Our days are numbered. Count the dam. Let there be a lesson in lisan, language. My last word may even be a sigh. An announcement of existence and exit. Language is a landscape. My a land escape. The last sentence ends with escape. Free me, free me. The body is a barrier. In Farsi, the word death is written with no period, marg. In Arabic, it has 2, maut, a death for me, a death for you, and end for me, period, point blank, for you. When hearing death, I was taught to say in Arabic, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Verily we are from Allah and certainly to Khuda is our return. Oh my God, then told to twist my tongue tenderly to Farsi's terrain, zindagi, saratan, bashad. May life hover above you like a halo above the head. Here the halos for our dead. If life hovers above my sad, don't let it wander, my good sir. Let it pierce me, please, Lutfan. Funny how each breath is a step toward death. Let me truly live in blood and breath. When you raise me, let my enemies clench their teeth and hold their breath. And I also have a short Dubaiti, which is a traditional poetic form in Persian or in Farsi, and I'll go ahead and read that now. بیا ای ناز دلبر بینمت من بیا ای ناز دلبر بینمت من تو گل باشی و گلزار چینمت من زمانه بد شده دونان بدتر تماشا کن دلم آینه ات من. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rashid John. Next, we have Hawa John. Hawa Ruhafsa Amin Arsala is a poet, a writer, an innovation strategist based on the unceded tribal lands of the Nusinon people. Her transdisciplinary practice explores the mechanisms of power, cultural folklore, spirit, and the concept of benevolent technology. Hawal's writing has appeared in global magazines and special edition print projects. Her poetry can be heard in real life across Northern California. Thank you so much.
Salam alaikum. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to the organizers, all the readers that have been going on for these hours and hours, and to the people of Palestine, past, present, and future. There is not much that can be said that hasn't been said already, but I appreciate that writers and poets, artists of all sorts, can bring language into form that might be a balm in this time, or might allow us to feel the feelings that are hard to access. I will read some pieces of poetry. The first one is called Age of Wreck. A billion eyes online, yet no one is watching. A trillion weeping words say hash mark in the roulette of socially entangled media. And I am silent amidst worlds by promise. I signed an NDA with my forefathers, and my posterity mothers rummaged through scripture to code break me into telling the truth again. Again, a spectacle of bodies, rushing airports, babies tossed like baggage. If the news cycle was the devil speaking directly to us, that voice would say, "Here it is again, you dirty, hungry worms. Feast on the spectacle of suffering. Donate your kidneys, pride, and spare some change till you attain moral superiority." The air is anxious, so easterly winds rise from the Altai, annoyed at the breathlessness of winded thumbs. I'm tapping at clouds until it rains. It's the only language I can speak. Here it is again, there too, and maybe at a theater of war near you. Prepare your mind to be broken by feelings of inadequacy, followed by inadequate feelings. As the life and vigor of a manic panic drains out, hot earwax on a sweltering bridge between mimetic cries for help from wounded children to inner children, from graphic design to Venmo to victory comments, rhapsody in the void of digital commons, augmented over a restless reality. The spectacle of exile is held together by Scotch tape on a screaming rubber neck. And the next piece is called Homage to Widows. Grief is carried on the backs of women for 40 days. The tired sinews, a generation of labor, and one tiny ball of a mother. She keeps everyone alive, beyond belief, boiling fennel tea, brushing nested hair, soothing and cooing and yelling the way her great-grandmother taught her. A yell that fells an acre of trees. It's just us three girls now. You are so young, but you have to be big and fast with the medicine. It's in your mind, dreams, and hands, by the way. Preparations and prayers over the bodies of herbs, seeds, and teenage pain unstick the sad from the intercostals. You are a carpet weaver before morning, tiling prayer rugs, whispering protective spells in every corner, especially the back, where sometimes, rarely, lesser demons find a crack in the wail of a woman moving rivers of loss down the meadows of her lashes. They subsume in screeches, spasms, and spiteful rage against God. We let it happen because our love of God is far greater when gathered in grief. Demons cry too, So we do our work on tasbih, mouth the 99 names of Allah on cassette tape, one ring around for the wife, 3 times around for all their relations, 100 times around for the evolution of their souls, a complete return home. Thank you so much.
Salam, my name is Sahar Muradi, and I'm really honored to be part of this reading in solidarity with Palestine and Lebanon, and to be in solidarity with so many across the planet. I'm going to share 2 poems. This is called The Ceiling of Their Hope, and there are 2 quotations at the beginning. The ceiling of their hope, quote, "No one can think or hope for what might come after a ceasefire. The ceiling of their hope at this hour is for the bombing to stop." Susan Abul Hawa, poet, novelist, and executive director of Palestine, writes, after returning from a 2-week trip to Gaza and Rafah in March 2024. The second quote, "When I was hearing the sound of rockets, I was measuring the distance, how far or near it is. The further, the better, and the nearer, the fear of hitting our home." My cousin Zainab, reflecting on the first Taliban regime, Afghanistan, 1990s. It rained here again. We drew our umbrellas like swords, small canopies to cover our precious cups, small screens to cover our restless snakes. I put my nose to the prayer rug, my father's rug, his nose and forehead, his hands that once fanned. Everything feels far away, is near. Rafah raining in the living room, Al-Shifa leaking in the kitchen, Zainab's small ears in 1997, branching on the window's edge. The water doesn't stop despite the ceiling. They are not doing anything, my hands, but touching the wet to make contact, to make remembrance, but clutching plastic, paper, a pen, opening my wallet to swallow blood. After Fajr, the pigeons coo and the heater groans. Dawn is breaking, cracking like 4 letters, shattering at their limit. The second poem is called It Goes Like This, and it's for my friend Rahmanullah. It goes like this. He sends me a video of a woman being assaulted by a cop and asks me how I'm doing. He says there's still no work and his daughters are still out of school, but how are you? He sends me a video of Gaza uncut, uncensored, and wishes me happy Ramadan, Solanau Mubarak. It's a child crying and bleeding and crying. He asks after my children. He calls me once a week when there is good reception and passes the phone around. First his wife, whom I call Khala, though she is younger than me. His 8 children, starting with the twins, Murtaza and Nabila. Then, finally, Bibi Aji, who teases me through her pains. But tell us how you are, and how is work, and you're cold, and what do you need from Jalalabad? He asks me, any word about our case? What does Biden have to say? What will they do for us now that they took everything? Tell me, please, something about your day. Thank you.
I am a poet and a writer based in the United States. Thank you to Laila Zarei for organizing this segment of the 3rd global reading for freedom of expression and in solidarity with Palestine and Lebanon. And thank you to all organizers who have arranged this 24-hour reading. I will be reading 3 of my poems in dedication to the people of Gaza, of Palestine, and in Lebanon. The first poem is titled Dream Pilgrimage. Dream Pilgrimage. In a dream, I crawled out from a dark cave and drank from a golden goblet, blood trickling over its leaf-edged sides. The warm metal coated my tongue and filled my throat. The blood was mine, and as the interpreter of dreams, I could see moonlight shimmered on the surface of that sanguine sea, and foreshadowed the dark distress that befell my nation. In the distance, I saw the mountain where Muhammad received the verses. It shined a light on my forehead. I listened. I carved a window in my heart. Its light shone through me. I asked the mountain, at which site do I cleanse my heart? In which nation will I be welcome? Is my nation where jinn roam, from shrine to battlefield, dousing the light? Is my nation where humans roam, from shrine to battlefield, dousing the light? The mountain was silent, dim. The twin lighthouses in my knees had led me to the mountain in my dream. I had long forgotten to light the kerosene. My second poem is titled Notes on Measuring Time. Notes on Measuring Time. Notice how it hides in groves and groves of orange trees, one petal at a time. Tell me if it's silly to spend energy on this. Look at how it snags on smooth alloy bombs as they sail clean through blue skies, cutting jagged paths among clouds of water and ice. How am I to measure time? Children sprout faster than colonies of coral reefs. Does the ocean have notes for me? Notice how difficult it is to measure when it also hides in missiles. My third and final poem is titled When a City Falls. When a city falls, the fallen city is full. Bleary eyes, dazed goats, schools hidden in hearts. The muezzin calls sinners to their knees. His calls, like clockwork, disturb the living from the dust of a fallen city. Trembling, they name their God on their parched lips. The fallen muezzin sings to crumbling minarets, telling tales of a city alive, on fire. The charred city masks its coffers with the musk of the starving muezzin. The starving city falls to its coffers and steals bread from its banks. The bankrupt city faces cracks in the foundation of minarets that dot the sunset. Tea leaves swirl in the muezzin's cup. They say, "Don't stop singing." The fallen holy book, held together by a fraying string at its spine, cries in a river. The fraying city splurges on the duplexes of diplomats abroad. Thank you.